Count money, man. Stack riches. Try and told him I'm a beast blood.
What's up, gang? Welcome back to another episode of the GRINDcast. Get ready. It's a new day, and we're going to talk about the obstacles and troubles and things that happen when you're trying to grow and increase. And, you know, specifically, I was having a conversation recently with some of the people building businesses that I have an opportunity to mentor. And out of the blue, I got on the subject and I said, hey, here's the issue, is that people want to double up with no trouble up. And if you're going to double up, typically you're going to have some trouble up. You're going to have some trouble on the way up. You're going to have some obstacles on the way up. And none of us want them. You know, our job is actually to operate with as much wisdom as possible so we can avoid as many of them as possible, so it's not as much trouble up. But if you're going to double up, there's probably going to be some trouble on the way up. And so I think where I watch people get lost in the shuffle is sometimes the entrepreneur dance or the business dance is 2 steps forward, 1 step back. 4 steps forward, 2 steps back. And I've witnessed this not just in business. I've watched this for athletes and different approaches, but where people are trying to achieve greatness and you're climbing a mountain of sorts. You know, not every career, not every opportunity are we climbing this mountain of greatness. But if you're in the pursuit of excellence, oftentimes, the majority of the time, most of the time, you're going to see it's the dance of 3 step forward, 2 step back, 4 step forward, 2 step back, 1 step forward, 1 step back, 2 step forward, 4 steps back. Like it's in that dance where people get lost and they say, man, I give up on myself. I give up on my dreams. I question myself, and we're all human, but that's why the self-talk and the deposits into your mind are so important, because your mind will start telling you, take the easy route, or this is the way it's always going to be. You're going to have times where you give as much as you could give to a person. You give as much as you can give to a client. You mentor as best as you could possibly mentor to somebody. You teach them how to match their shoes to their belt and teach them how to dress, talk, walk, act, everything. Teach them everything. And you're going to get backstabbed. You're going to have people that stab you in the back after you do a lot of things for people in the pursuit of greatness. You're going to have people that talk about you. You're going to have people that don't know you talk bad about you. You're going to have people that know you but couldn't do what you do, and they're going to talk bad about you. You're going to have jealousy. You're going to have envy. You're going to have trouble up on the double up. All right? If we're going to double up, there's going to be some trouble, but there's also going to be lessons learned here. There's going to be things that you learn lessons on that are necessary. It's like unlocking a door, a key that unlocks a door, but you only get the key to unlock the next level once you learn the lesson that you're supposed to learn at this level. And then at the next level, there's going to be trouble up. Not everything. There's going to be a lot of sunshine, a lot of planes, yachts, cars, vacations, fun, blessings, giving, all types of cool stuff that's going to happen in there. But then you're going to have some moments where there's some trouble, and you find the key and you learn the lessons and you unlocked it. Bam, you get to go to the next level. Lesson learned. So you're going to have lessons learned. You're going to have on the come up, you're going to have financial differences at times in different years. Meaning you may make more money in one year than you do the next. You may make a crazy amount of money one year and then the next year maybe not make as much. Not all the time. But just know if that happens, sometimes that's part of the game once in a while. And then you create this stability of, all right, my income's the same or it's going higher every year. But you're going to have these pitfalls at time where your income takes a hit. And it's in those moments in a financial different year. You know, I was talking to somebody recently, and I wouldn't recommend this to everybody. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, don't try this at home. You see an actor, you know, it's like it's not recommended to jump out this 20-foot window or, you know, or whatever it is. But I was talking to somebody that I know, and they're a professional. I know I can't call them gambler, right? I know that's not the right word, but poker player, okay? And so I know there's skill involved, but I was talking to him, and literally he provides, like, this is what he does really well at it. And he's like, yeah, you know, the reason why, you know, a lot of the people fail is because they don't know how to manage their finances, that you're going to have big splurges at times, and then you got to be able to put money away and save and know what you need to invest, what you need to play with, what you need to save, what you could spend. And a lot of these people, they just go week to week or year to year, month to month. And even if they have a big year, they spend it all. And then they're not there for the lows. You got to be there for the highs, and you got to be there for the lows if you want to maintain and last in this game that you're on, in this journey that you're on. And this could go for boxing, this could go for fighting, this could go for business, this could go for so many different things that you're listening on here. And there's probably people from all different walks of life. You could relate this to a lot of different things. But if you want to win in the long run, you got to be there for the highs, and you got to be there for the lows. And if you don't manage the highs the right way, then you're not going to be able to handle the lows because you spent all your money. And so when you have highs, make sure that you set money aside in case over a 10-year run, you may have 8 years of stability and 2 years of a dip. Do you get so mad in the 2 years of a dip, like, oh, this is crazy, this is ridiculous? Or do you learn the lesson of, hey, I had 8 years of highs. I should have been thinking about there may be a dip one day, and I got to be prepared for that. And so you got to be able to manage the highs and the lows. You got to be able to think long term, because you're going to have trouble up on the double up. You got to be able to think, hey, this might stink in the moment, this year, 2025, but if I handle it the right way, how's this look for us in 2027? What am I supposed to learn in this season of my life that I'm having trouble in the midst of doubling up and doubling up again? What is it? What am I supposed to learn here? What is the world teaching me? What is God teaching me? And I think it helps when you understand the dance, that I know in the double up there's going to be some trouble up, and so you got to expect it. Not in a negative way, but just like, let's not get blindsided by it. I don't want to get hit, but I'm going to protect. I'm going to be ready. I'm going to keep my hand up in case I do get hit. We got to expect it a little bit. I think it helps to read about it. What do I mean by read about it? Man, I've tried to draw inspiration from leaders, authors, people that have started businesses, whether it's Sam Walton, Walmart, Phil Knight, the founder of Nike, Oprah. You know, you go back and you look and you learn about people that made it and they became super successful. And allow yourself to study not just the highs, but the lows and how they manage the lows. Like, you know, I've talked over and over again to some people about Phil Knight, the manager or the founder of Nike, how he went out and 8 years into his business, he was bouncing checks to his employees. 8 years. Now, how many of you out there are thinking, man, if I'm 8 years into business and I'm bouncing checks to my employees, I'm probably going to quit. I'm probably going to give up. Well, it wasn't always that way. He started to have some success, and then he hit a rough patch. He hit a bad season, and then he had to start. He couldn't make his payment. He couldn't pay his staff, his salary. All these things happened to him, and he decided that he was going to find a way to make it out of there. There was trouble up on his double up there. And so I would motivate and inspire myself all the time by reading about some of these people, these famous people that started and made billions of dollars, that created these organizations that are top, biggest companies in America. And you look at who had to go through what in that battle, and then you inspire yourself from reading about it to let yourself know it's not just me that has trouble up on the double up. You learn to control what you can control. When you have some trouble, it's like, all right, how many things am I stressing about that are out of my control? What things am I focused on that I can control, and just focus on those things? Patience. Sometime when there's trouble up on the double up, you have a moment like, a young man that I've taken a liking to. He's a high school athlete. He had an injury last year. He had to battle back from rehab all off season, and he's in mint condition, and he's ready to play, and he's playing high school football. In just a couple weeks into the season, his first game, plays amazing, but tears something in his knee. So now we got to go back to the process of surgery, rehab, come back. And this is where a lot of people can't handle. It's in the process of life, you're going to have things on your come up that you tear something, you sprain something. You sprain something in your business. You tear something in your business. You take a major loss in your sport or career. And it's like, all right, I got to rehabilitate myself right now. Much like this athlete has to rehabilitate his knee, he has to get surgery on it. You go in there and you got to tear things apart, pull things out. Sometimes in your business situation, you got to go in there and tear things out. You got to pull things apart. You got to sew it back together, and now you can barely walk. But in a month, you're going to be walking fine. In 2 months, you're going to be jogging. In 3 months, we're going to be ready to roll. In 4 or 5 months, we're starting to strengthen ourselves almost back to full capacity. It's having the patience in that process to rehabilitate yourself, because you're going to have some trouble. And there's this, we were talking about being prepared for the highs and the lows financially is, there's a part of you, if you want to grow, you have to invest into your business. Typically, people only do one of the two. They either they invest crazy into their business and go all in, every nickel, they go crazy, or they save everything and they don't invest enough into their business. What my suggestion would be is to find a balance to where you have some savings. You're saving money for a rainy day. You're saving money in case I have a down year, I could survive. You're probably not going to have 3 down years, but I could survive a down year. I'm saving, but you got to also invest or you're not going to grow. So just to wrap this all up for the message this week, I want you all to understand that if you got big dreams, big goals, somewhere between 1 and 100, there's going to be some times where your business, your situation is going to double. Now, it might not be your business. It might be you have double, you started out ranked number 10 in the world, and now you're ranked number 3 in the world. Well, that's more than double, getting better. But then you lose and you got a setback. Now you're back down at number 8, or you're back down at number 7. We're gonna have trouble up on the double up. We're gonna have all these things that happen around us in the pursuit of greatness and excellence. That's why it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for everybody. But if you got it, you got a little bit. We got to have patience. We got to have resiliency. We got to expect it. We know it's just part of the game. It's going to happen. Have the right perspective, the way that you're viewing this stuff. And I just want to encourage you all and celebrate with you all. If you want to share any good news that you got for those of you that have been following us for a long time, like, let me know, what are your victories? What was your victories in the last 12 months, 2025? How have you grown? Also, as always, we're open to recommendations. If there's something that you want us to do a podcast on, let us know. But just be encouraged, stay inspired, keep it pushing forward, because we're going to have a little bit of trouble on the growth going to the next level and what it's going to require from you. Keep up the good fight. All right. As always, if this message impacted you at all and it helped you at all, don't forget, share it with some people out there so we can impact more people. And also, as always, you guys know how much we appreciate your time. We appreciate you joining us on another episode of the GRINDcast. Get ready. It's a new day.